Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning, and in today's video we'll be discussing the panel that was coming out in San Diego Comic-Con for Arrow Season 7. So let's discuss. Also, if you want to stay up to date with everything Comic-Con, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. So yes, today, as I just did in my Supergirl video, we are doing everything Arrowverse today with all of the different Comic-Con panels and all the different trailers. And in this video, we'll be focusing on the panel for Arrow Season 7. It came out, we had all the series regulars, and we had the new showrunner, Beth Schwartz, come out and talk about Arrow Season 7. And we've got some cool stuff to discuss. Just to get it out of the way, I feel like I may have missed some things out, so if there are some things missing that I didn't mention, I do apologise for that. It was hard to kind of gather all the news together from loads of different sources and things, so I apologise if I missed something out, but with all that said, let's jump straight into it. So first off, the Longbow Hunters were officially revealed. Now, so we knew the Longbow Hunters were going to be in the season, and we knew for the most part they were going to be a major villain next season. But we now know who the members are. So the members who are going to be making up the Longbow Hunters are Red Dart, Kodiak, and the Silencer. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about these characters, because especially the last two, I don't really know anything. However, one thing I do know is Red Dart, who was the first one on the list who I mentioned, was actually a member of the Longbow Hunters in the comics. And that's really cool. So I like the fact that at least we're getting one member from the Longbow Hunters who's actually going to be a member of the Hunters in the show, like they were in the comics. Also, if you remember back to a video I made, a couple weeks ago, where I was talking about the Longbow Hunters, I said that Red Dart was the most likely one to actually show up, given the fact that, other members of the Longbow Hunters like Vertigo and Brick, they had already showed up in the show, and they said they weren't going to do that, so I thought Red Dart was the most likely. So the fact we're getting that, I'm happy about that, and I really like the fact that we are getting these new members, and it's making it like a fresh team and a fresh looking idea for the show that also separates it from the comics. And speaking of the Longbow Hunters, we also got the official casting. So we had Red Dart, Kodiak, and Silencer, and playing them is going to be Holly Alyssa, Michael Johnson, and Miranda Edwards, respectively. Now, I didn't really have the time to go and delve in and look at these different actors' portfotolios and actually have a look at what they did and who they are. I hadn't heard of any of them, but like I said, I think Arrow is always pretty dead on with its castings, especially when it comes to the villains. When you look at look at John Barrowman, Bonnie Bennett, anyone really, any of the Arrow villains, even, recently with Kirk Acevedo, with Ricardo Diaz, and obviously Josh Segarra with Prometheus. I think the Arrow are really good at casting their villains, and I know I'm stumbling a little bit because I'm so excited about this, but they do a fantastic job with all their castings a lot of the time, and I feel like that these guys are going to do a great job at bringing the Longbow Hunters to fruition. And also, I'm pretty sure, based on just the names alone, I'm pretty sure that two of them are female, so that's really cool. Again, adding a bit more diversity to Arrow, getting some more female villains in there, which I've wanted to see for a while. Obviously, I've been a big advocate for pushing Lady Shiva on the show, so the fact we're getting two female villains as a member of the Longbow Hunters, I like that. And overall, I'm really excited about the Longbow Hunters coming to Season 7. Now, I also saw an interview with David Ramsey where he was talking about how Lila is actually going to be in this season more, which is always great. I mean, we've always wanted to see more Lila. I mean, if I could pick any character on the show to have more screen time, it would be Lila. I think she's so good, and she doesn't get to show up that often. It's really cool just when she gets to show up in the crossovers as well, when she was in an episode of Flash Season 3, she was also in the Invasion crossover. Like, every time Lila gets to show up, it's always awesome. And, in Season 6, Episode 22, where she was just in the hospital with Diggle, and Diggle was just, and they were, protecting each other back to back. It was sick. I love Lila, and she's going to be in the show more in Season 7, so that's great. And also, we're going to sort of find out more about Argus and who they actually answer to. So that's quite interesting as well. You'll get a bit more of a backstory on Argus, which, Argus has been a presence within the Arrowverse, pretty much since the beginning, so it's kind of cool to see that get a bit more development. Also, in terms of David Ramsey's episode that he is directing this season, it's going to be episode 11. So that's going to be 2 episodes after the mid-season finale, and he also said that he's going to be including a lot of action in his episode, which definitely gets me excited. I definitely have a lot of faith in David Ramsey taking the camera, so that's all good. And David Ramsey was pretty awesome at the interview, and I think he really did a good job at showing us and teasing what could be coming for Season 7. Also, supposedly, Oliver is far from heroic when it gets to the Season 7 premiere. Apparently, he does something absolutely horrible in the premiere, according to Stephen Amell. And he was saying that if you're a fan of Oliver, he wants you to hate him in that point. So that's really interesting. It seems like they're taking Oliver in a really drastic direction for Season 7. Especially, obviously, we did get the trailer release. I'll do a trailer breakdown next, as my next video. It's a separate one. In that trailer, he really does. He doesn't look good. So it seems like they're really taking Oliver in an interesting direction for Season 7, which I'm definitely all about. but the fact he's far from heroic is definitely an interesting quote, and I want to see how Steven actually, what he means by that when we actually see the episode in October. Also, Stephen Amell was talking about William, and he was saying that William's got one of the most interesting arcs this season. Based on the trailer, I don't know how much that actually means. I mean, I'll get to that, but I think it's quite funny that he was talking about William so much. I really hope William isn't a focus this season as much as he was last season, because he really drags down the show, as do any kids who are on the show. It was like Ruby on Supergirl last season. Like, any child on the show just drags them down, so I really hope William doesn't get as much of a focus this season, because he really pissed me off last season. And also, Dinah and Black Siren's relationship will be different. So this is what Juliana Harkavy said about Black Siren, and also about Dinah Drake. They were saying their relationship has developed a little bit, and they will actually be a bit different next season. That Dinah is actually able to empathize with Black Siren a little bit after Quentin's death. I feel like this is going to be an interesting thing to do, because, you know, the Dinah Black Siren dynamic was something that really ruined Season 6 because it caused that divide and everything. It was really annoying. So the fact that they're kind of pushing past that, and maybe that these two characters are actually going to team up at some point, that'd be really cool, because rumor is that Dinah is the only character who's actually operating as a vigilante now, because apparently Renee and Curtis retired, and although based on the trailer, I don't really know how much of that is true, but it's quite interesting to see that this relationship is still going and it's going to be changing, and I like that. I think that's a big positive for the show. So that was everything I could find about Arrow Season 7 in Comic-Con. Make sure you tell me anything I missed out, and also make sure you let me know all your thoughts about everything we discussed here today. Like I said, there are some stuff I would have certainly missed out, just because, obviously, I can't really watch the panels live. I don't really know when the panels are going to get released. I know the Supergirl one's been released. I haven't watched it yet, but I know that the panels will get released eventually. But overall, these are all the information I could sort of uncover on Twitter and from different news sources and news outlets. But make sure you let me know all your thoughts about all the news in the comment section down below. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who love DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Black Lightning. And make sure you stay tuned for more news coming out of Comic-Con.